Every plant family or grouping within a family is characterized by its chemistry as much as it is by its floral biology or any other facet of its life. And I think there's no more obvious or familiar example of this than the mints. Now, mint is a genus of about 25 species and lots of hybrids. And the signature chemical here is menthol, about whose effects on the human body a book could be written. The most familiar of these effects being the way in which it triggers the cold sensitive receptors in the skin when you eat it or smell it or rub it against your skin. It has an enormously wide range of applications. Among the most familiar, an almost random selection of the most familiar might include chocolate and ice cream, chewing gum, Vicks Vapor Rub, toothpaste, wide range of things. And it also has important applications in medicine and dentistry. And it's even used as a pesticide to treat tracheal mite infections in honeybees. Mint belongs to the same breakaway section of its family as marjoram and thyme, where the flowers have moved away from a more complex ancestral gullet-type blossom, typified, for example, by woundworts or dead nettles, to an inflorescence that consists of densely clustered, much smaller flowers, most of which the insect visitors are much larger than the individual flowers and walk at random all over the inflorescence. So here, the inflorescence is not a spike of pollinator-sized flowers that the pollinator visits one at a time, but a cluster of much smaller flowers. And it's the inflorescence as a whole that acts as the pollination unit. We have two common species of mint in the wild, along with a few less common others and several hybrids. The ease with which the species hybridize can make it difficult to put a name on some hybrid plants. The mints flower right through into October, producing abundant nectar that is readily accessible to short-tongued insects, mainly flies, which makes them particularly important sources of nectar as other flowers become scarce. The most common mint in the wild is water mint, which was the mint used in flavouring in Roman times. It grows in all sorts of wet places and has most of its flowers concentrated at the top rather than in whorls down the stem. The flowers are somewhat larger than in other mints and seem to have a greater attraction for bees and butterflies as well as the larger flies. The other common species is corn mint, which has separate puffs of flowers at the leaf nodes at intervals along the stem and is visited mainly by flies. This is one of the species mainly used to produce menthol commercially and is widely grown for this purpose in Uttar Pradesh, in India and in China. The commonest garden mint is spearmint, a native of Central Europe but common as a garden escape. Here the flowers are in a characteristic tight terminal spike with protruding stamens and the leaves don't have stalks. Peppermint is a hybrid between water mint and spearmint. It looks very similar to spearmint, but it has stalked leaves and protruding stamens. For many, the smell of mint is a sensory experience that anchors the first time and place you encountered it forever in the memory. Indeed, if Seamus Heaney is to be believed, it will be remembered when everything else is forgotten. My last things will be first things slipping from me. And there's another ghostly echo in the story of mint in the name itself. Because in Greek mythology, Minthe was the lover of Pluto, the god of the underworld, whose jealous wife, Persephone, transformed her into this most ethereally unforgettable of plant embodiments.